Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. I'm your host, tdizzaster. It's going to be a quicker video, I'm hoping. I'm a bit tired. I was getting ready to go to bed, but I noticed that the internet on YouTube, Twitter/X, they're exploding with this disagreement, this dialogue that's going on surrounding whether Miles Morales is actually Spider-Man or if he's just Miles Morales. And here's the thing. I can understand and see the perspective of why there are some people who have concerns about this, because in today's industry, there are a lot of agenda being pushed, personal agendas being pushed into video games, into entertainment. So I can see where someone can easily look at this and say, oh, well, you know, obviously they're trying to just push an agenda. And the big concern is Insomniac has come out and said that Miles Morales is going to be the main focus of the next Spider-Man game. He's going to be the main Spider-Man that you're going to be playing as. And people are outraged by this because they think that Peter Parker is just being replaced because of identity politics. And I can see, like I said, I can see how easily, if you don't look into it or you have no knowledge about the comics, you could look at this and say, oh yeah, they're definitely doing that. But I don't necessarily think that is the case. I think this is just a case of coincidence, almost like it works in their favor and they really didn't have to do too much. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't know anything about the comics, so in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic series, there is a point where Peter Parker dies. This has nothing to do with the game, but this is in the comics. Peter Parker dies, and Miles Morales, who has the Spider-Man powers, who is still a young child, he happens to find a Spider-Man suit, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe he made his own makeshift suit. He puts it on, and he's trying to fight crime, and you know, they're people that he's trying to help are like, oh, you're doing this in poor taste. So it's like he's wanting to take up the mantle of Spider-Man, because what people are not understanding is Spider-Man is like a title. In Spider-Man comics, there's literally a Spider-Verse. They've established this in the comics years ago. They've now established this in the animated movies. There's Into the Spider-Verse. So we understand this. But Spider-Man is more of a mantle you take up. You understand? It's not a replacement. And that's why, like in the video game, Spider-Man 2, you play as both Miles and Peter. You see, before Peter became Spider-Man, he took up the mantle of Spider-Man. And you might be arguing, well, Peter came up with it. That's his original idea. And Miles is just taking that idea without making his own identity. But he is a Spider-Man. He got bit by a radioactive spider. He has very similar powers as Peter. So he's still a Spider-Man. I don't understand what the big issue is with Miles being Spider-Man, but everyone's okay with Spider-Pig. That makes no sense. But I think the real big issue is people really think that Insomniac are doing this to replace the straight white male. Now that could be absolutely their agenda. But in this case, I think it's more so of just a coincidence that works in their favor, if that's what they were trying to go with. I mean, there's articles being written about this. Everyone has an opinion on it. I figured I'd give mine. But I think at the end of the day, Spider-Man 2, the video game, is a good game. Spider-Man Miles Morales was a good game. The Spider-Man 2018, I think is when it came out, was a good game. Whether they take Peter out and make Miles the main Spider-Man focus in the third game, or whatever game comes after this one, me personally, I'm A-okay with it. Because at the end of the day, it's a fictional character. It's a comic book character. There are some things that happen in the game that I do have some concerns with, like the Mary Jane situation, but that's something completely different. But I think ultimately, if you're enjoying the game, it really shouldn't matter. There's a lot of things that maybe people aren't comfortable with, as far as identity politics being shoved into today's entertainment. But I don't control this stuff. The only thing I can control is my wallet and whether I want to support things like this. So if you're someone who doesn't agree with Insomniac's focus and where they want to go with the series moving forward, just speak with your wallet and don't buy the game. But if you're someone who says Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man, you're entitled to your opinion, but as I've said before, you're just wrong. If he wasn't Spider-Man, he would just be called Miles Morales, wearing a suit. Kind of like how Peter Parker would just be called Peter Parker, wearing a suit. He took up the mantle of Spider-Man. I'm sure you've heard of that. Taking up a mantle of something. You know, you take up the mantle of Captain America. You know, you take up the mantle of Thor. Taking up the mantle of Spider-Man. I mean, they've done it for pretty much a majority of comic book characters. You know, we have Wolverine. They take his DNA and clone him. And now there's a female Wolverine called X-23. I think this is more so fake outrage. I think a lot of popular websites and maybe YouTubers have kind of covered this. And so it's starting to get traction. That's how many things happen to get traction. That's how everyone starts to talk about something that is a non-issue. It really is a non-issue. Spider-Man is Miles Morales. Miles Morales is Spider-Man. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Gwen Stacy is Spider-Gwen. You know, it is what it is, man. You just got to deal with it. But that's pretty much all I have for you on this video. I wanted to make a real quick video for you. Like I said, I'm pretty exhausted. But I wanted to get this out. I'll edit this video tomorrow and have it up. But that's all I have. Down below, do all the things. Like, comment, you know, subscribe if you haven't. And as always, it's been your boy, it's been real, and I'm out later. I'm at the